Okay, I hope you all know who I am. I'm Sue Fielder, instructional designer. I work off of the Beatrice campus. We are just going to roll, all right? Hopefully all of you have a Canvas Master course. There are a couple of you that don't. You'll have to use your Sandbox, but maybe we should just start out with some very basic things, because most everybody trained, last fall? And if I ask for a show of hands, probably about at least a half, if not more of you, probably haven't used Canvas much since then, right? Haven't paid much attention. Did the training, went your way, really busy, I don't have time. Okay, so first of all, Moodle dies June 30th. That's the end of our license, so Moodle is gone. That's why it's super, super, super important for you to request a Canvas Master for each and every course that you have in Moodle now. Whether you teach it now, in the fall, or 3 years from now. Or you might never teach it, but you don't know what you're going to get assigned someday. We do not care if you ask for 10 masters and end up only using 3 or 4 or 5. Get your stuff out of Moodle and into Canvas, even if you don't touch it after it's there. Now, I'm going to try to give you some tips on what to choose to move into Canvas and what not to bother to move into Canvas, so that it gives you a little more streamlined product. Some of you might totally decide to start from scratch, in Canvas, and that's good too. But there are a few things like your PowerPoints, you still want them, or your question banks anyway, even if you're starting from scratch. So even though I'm going to probably today talk generally about moving a whole course over, all of you can decide that you can, and I'm also showing you how to move pieces, not the whole thing. You all get to decide what you want to do with your course, and that's kind of going to be where I head today, all right? So should we maybe just start at square one, like how do I get to Canvas? Okay, all right, we'll start with that. First of all, you can go to mycourses.southeast.edu right here, okay? That is the outside web address. Once we are totally in Canvas, you can go to the hub like you do now and go out of the hub into Canvas, right? Right now we're not doing that because we can't. However, I will show you how to get to Canvas from Outlook, your email program. So if you're at the hub, and do you all know how to get in your email from the hub, right? I don't have to do those steps, right? Everybody familiar? Yes. Yay? Okay. So I'm going to pretend that I went to the hub to get to my Outlook email account, okay? What you can do is click on the little grid over here in the upper left corner. All right, if I'm going too fast for anybody and you want to try to do this as we're talking, holler at me, all right? And just say, hey, whoa. All right, so click on the grid. Whoops. Click it. Then you can see where it says all apps. Okay, click on that and scroll down. I didn't even know Moodle was here. But here's Canvas. So that will take you straight to Canvas.
I know.
Learned something new today, yay. Yay. Now, if you're wise, you bookmark this. And do you all know how to put things in your toolbar up here in your web browser so that you can go quick to it and just boom? Do that. One thing that's really nice is single sign-on truly works with Canvas. All right, they never got it to work right with Moodle, but they do have it working right with Canvas. So once you're in your email account, you never have to log in again. Once you log into your computer, you don't have to log into Canvas. All right?
Got a question from one of the panelists. Sue,
right.
Do we need to request Canvas masters for any master we currently use in Moodle?
Yes, you request masters for any Moodle master you have in Moodle. If you don't have a master in Moodle, but it's a term course that you teach, and you want a master for it, it doesn't have to be a master that you already have, all right? You can go.
And do they email instructional design?
No, I'm going to, yeah. The
You're
next step I will show you is how to get that master requested, okay? You can ask for master for traditional, hybrid, web, and any other combination. If you have a 5-week course, an 8-week course, or whatever, you just ask for whatever kind of master you think you need, okay? There can't be too many masters requested. And the way you get to it, did everybody get into Canvas now, and are you on your own dashboard? Everybody's there? Okay, click on the orientation course. And right here is the request form, okay? There's a link on the instructor orientation Canvas homepage that takes you to this master request form. You can also request Moodle masters. You can ask for deleting of masters, Canvas masters. So this is a one-stop shop for your master course needs.
Can you request multiple at the same time, or you have to
No,
do it
one form, because that feeds into a spreadsheet the IT department can use that to put it. All right, and just to clarify, the instructional design staff is no longer creating masters for Canvas. We aren't creating any Canvas masters. We still can create Moodle masters, but you also have this form. So that's, the more we can have the IT department do some of that stuff, the better. But if you want a Moodle master, you could still go to instructional design at Southeast EDU and ask for that. But this form, as you can see, also allows you to request Moodle masters. All right? Okay. So that is how you request a master. Get those requested as soon as possible. And there's a logic for needing a master rather than, I'm going to caution you right now, you all have sandboxes, right? You all have this Canvas course, and then you maybe have one other one, just a card. They call them course cards, right? That's your sandbox. If you remember when you did your Canvas training, that's a play area. It has no template in it. It is not pre-built for anything. It's totally naked canvas. And that means you totally just play there. You do not want to build your course in the sandbox because it is lacking the pieces and parts that you need from the master course to make it a course that you can import into your term courses, all right? And if you build in your sandbox and then try to blend it, don't do that. We really want you to use your sandbox totally for playing around, okay? So if you want to say, hey, how will my Moodle course look if I dump it in Canvas? I don't want to put it in my master. I just want to dump it in, throw it in the sandbox. You can see what it looks like. And there's a really nice feature in your in all courses, but I would not do it in all courses. I'm going to go to my sandbox. If you go to settings in your sandbox, you will see an option that says reset course content, okay? That wipes it out to 0. So that means you can mess around in your sandbox till the cows come home, and you can reset it to 0 whenever you want. Resetting will take it, it's at settings. See here in the course navigation, I'm at settings, reset course content. That will set it back to the default square one and clean it up for you, okay? Now, the only other thing there is here is to delete this course, and don't do that, because guess what that does? It deletes the course. Believe it or not, the buttons do what they say they'll do. All right, as you're working, there's also the student view here. I'm just randomly popping through a few things here that you might not have remembered, but you can actually use the student view, and that's also in the settings area. And that student view will allow you to preview your course content as a student. It'll allow you to do assignments, tests, discussions, or whatever without actually showing up in with the other student content, which is kind of nice. And so you can actually take a test take a test as one of your students, and it'll actually feed it into the gradebook to see if your scoring and all that is accurate. It will call it test student in your gradebook. And then if you find errors or problems, you can go back. You can fix the issues, and then you can reset your test student view back to 0, and then it'll take all that data out, and you can start over there too. So student view is pretty powerful. Yes, Marcy? It's at the bottom. Look at your bottom when you're in student view, and it says most of your messages are at the bottom. So like if I go into student view from here, it should show up in pink along the bottom here, and this is how, hang on, let me move this. Right here, here's your reset to set it back to like you've never been a student in there before. And leaving student view lets you progress through the course and not clear out the other student stuff you did while you were in there.
This is in the Sandbox?
It's in anywhere. And you have to go to settings. Go to the settings, and on the right-hand side, you'll have a lot of those options. Okay, everybody okay with that?
Does it say settings?
Yeah, right here, settings. And that bar down here toward the bottom.
Oh,
You've
there's
got
a bunch of
okay.
things I can't read.
To clarify, you've got your global navigation is your blue bar, your course navigation is your white unmarked bar, okay? Now, one thing I will say too is your master course, do not monkey around with the course navigation. And I'll tell you more about that, but don't mess with it. You can change it, adjust it, and tweak it, but there are some guidelines that I have for that. So we'll talk about those in a little bit too. I'm kind of not really following our agenda, and I'm kind of going out of sequence here, but you kind of have to have a little bit of a feel for what you're doing here. And I mean, from what the reading of the room was before we started, it's like, I don't even know how to get to Canvas. So I thought it kind of made me want to start with that. And before y'all leave, make sure you signed in. I don't know where that sheet is, but make sure you sign in. Okay, so that's just very, very, very bare bones. If you want to get to your dashboard, you go here, and it takes you back to this area. In part 2, or a little later on in part 1, we'll go into a little bit more detail on that. All right, do you all have a mask? Because I'm going to start in now with what the agenda kind of says, which part 1 is shows you how to migrate a course from Moodle to Canvas. Okay. I want you to, if you have a Sandbox and nothing else, you can use your Sandbox for today. You're not going to have all the template features that we are talking about, but it will at least give you a picture of what it's kind of like. So what I want you to do now is to get into Moodle, into a course that you want to move into one of your master courses. Okay? So make sure you have a master course. If you have one, pick one, and then find the mate to it in Moodle. That could be a master, or it could also be your term course that you're teaching right now, if that's something that you want to use.
So we can't get back to, like, one class, I only have it as a backup. I don't actually have a current shelf for it or anything.
Okay.
So that we can't do that one.
You can do that too. Question was, if I have just a backup and it's not a live course in Moodle right now, can I use that backup? Yes, that process will be a little different for you. So do you have another course that you can kind of use and then follow along? If nothing else, dump it in your Sandbox just as a practice.
I can.
Because I'm telling you right now, yes, you can use your backups, your Moodle MBZ files where you've downloaded and kept your backup. Those are usable too. The process is going to be a little bit different. So I want to start out with, I have a real live course in Moodle. I'm going to take that real live course over into Canvas, into Master. So let's do that first. And then Beth, follow up when we get a little further along and make sure I clarify how you do it your way, which is I have that backup file and I want to get that over because that will be something people will also want to know. Okay. All right, let's start out and go back to Moodle. And probably what I'll do is I'm going to go into this fake course I created. So you're on the main page of your Moodle course that you want to get over into Canvas, right? Now, I told you we're going to do this first, but there's something that we need to do before we actually do the process in Moodle. And that is we need to look at from the training, you stay where you are, all right? But you really, folks, should use the orientation course very first. And if you haven't, if you kind of are like, have not gone through this course and at least read the main paragraphs at the top of each section, you know, you don't have to read all the information. You don't have to go through and read every resource, but I'm going to just jump ahead here to, let me just show you something. Like here, you want to know how to do your account settings? You click it and you wait. But I know you're all busy people, but I think if you have the big picture of Canvas and you take at least a minimum amount of time to go through this orientation course and at least read the paragraph at the top and your best practice tips, which will give you a tiny bit of pedagogy, some things we recommend to make your life easier in Canvas. If you do that and just go, see here, you start in one, you can go to the bottom and just hit next, next, next. If you have 15 minutes, sit down and read for a few minutes. You don't have to take notes. You don't have to do it all in one sitting, but I think it will give you a perspective that you kind of need before you really work in Canvas and to make some good decisions as instructors. Because not only are we asking you to move your stuff or get your stuff built in Canvas, we're asking you to take this opportunity, since you're also going to semesters, is to kind of rethink a little bit about how you teach your course, what little things you can do differently, what might improve your course, make it a more meaningful experience for both you and your students. And also, I want to editorialize a little bit here. After we get this bump where we're kind of getting people into Canvas, our instructional design team, because the college bought 24/7 support for you, we are not going to be your, quote, IT, help me out with Canvas person. Like if you say, how do I turn on the settings? How do I fix the settings in discussion? You know, click the 24/7 help and go to them. In other words, we don't want to be the technical support so much anymore because the college paid big bucks for that 24/7 support. And those people probably know more than all of us put together, you know. So take advantage of it. Chat, email, phone call. So there, different delivery methods for your help, whatever suits your personal taste. 24/7. I want you to get out of the habit in your courses, and I know I'm digressing here, but I'm not. It's relevant. I'm digressing, but I say I'm not digressing. It's the relevant thing to have your students do that too. How many of you, at least in one of your Moodle courses, somewhere, have written instructions for your students on how to do something? To post a discussion, to do this, to do your assignment, do that. You know, guess what? Don't do that anymore. Get it out of there forever. If Canvas changes and updates, you don't have to rewrite anything. Why should you not do that for your students? The help button. They have 24/7 support also. So if you want to give them guidance, like in your first discussion, your first assignment, your first test, or whatever, you say, need help? Click the icon in the blue bar. The end. That is your help. Okay? And it's awesome help. I use it a lot. But can you see where that's really, really going to be helpful? You don't have to tell your students how to do anything anymore. All right? Yeah, I know. Come on, I got to sell this. Because they're going to be so involved with your content and engaged with that, and they'll never ask you any questions again because it'll just be so awesome, right? All right, so, and I'll show you a little help feature too, that actually when you go to help and click the button, and if you want to do it in your course, this, or wherever you are now, if you happen to be in Canvas on the screen, if you hit help, it says ask your instructor a question. They don't even know how to use they do not even have to know how to use the message system to get to the right thing. All they have to do is click that link and choose your course. They don't even have to know your name to ask you a question. Pretty robust and pretty intuitive. All right.
Can I have a question for clarification?
Yes.
You said you wanted to be in Moodle in either an active course or a passive course?
Yes, you can be in Moodle in any course that you want to move across.
Okay.
So this is orientation, and it's really important. And before we make that move, and before you make your move, in the orientation, I'm in the modules, and just to quickly explain what the modules is, it's a rough equivalent to your course page, your main course page in Moodle. All right, you see that these are modules, so these are your units of instruction. You know how you usually put your stuff in your course in chronological order from top to bottom, right? Okay, so I'm jumping down to the bottom here where it says reusing content. I am opening the one that says transferring Moodle content into Canvas, because that's what we're doing today, right? So yeah, we really want to look at this carefully, right, before we do that, correct? Makes sense? All right, so we aren't going to take the time now to read through this, but read the instructions. But here is your Moodle to Canvas conversion chart. It's awesome. Kaltura does not have details in it yet, but it will. We're still working on a few wrinkles in not wrinkles. It's the difference in Moodle compared to the difference in Canvas. The software works awesome. It will work fine for you. All your media that is currently in Moodle will be available to you in Canvas, but the Kaltura can only support one site kind of basically at a time, so we have to leave Moodle before it can be available to you in Canvas. And we're going to work out a little process information there. How do I handle my Kaltura stuff? You know, but we're not quite there on that, but it is in here. So now you can see that rubrics, checklists, and so on have to be done over in Canvas. You see that before you actually import content or you move content, today we're going to do it. But before you do this over and over again, take some time with this conversion sheet, go through it, look at what you have in your course, and make some decisions, because this will help you decide, what am I going to take out of Moodle, what am I going to leave behind? Okay? Basically, quizzes, discussions, and assignments come across without any problem, by and large. Okay? PowerPoint, no problem. Okay? But if you have assignments, but here there are also cool links in here that explain details on how to do this stuff. Attendance in Moodle is called roll call in Canvas. All right, a book in Moodle, anybody familiar with that little character? Look what it says over here, no equivalent. If you bring your book across from Moodle, it will turn it into pages in Canvas. A page in Canvas is roughly equivalent to a page in Moodle. Pretty much the same thing. So each page you have in your book will be created as a separate page in Canvas. So you either need to decide, do I want to format that a little differently or what? So see, these are decisions you should make before you start so that you know what you're going to get on the other end of the line. There's a calendar. There's no equivalent on the certificate. There will be a chat feature. If you use a choice, there's no equivalent. Course settings, yes, there are in both places, but if any of you use the database, I think that's had some extremely limited use, that there's not an equivalent of that. There's not an equivalent of feedback. There are other things that you can do. Do you see where this is written out? And Amy wrote most of this. She explained to you what you can do instead, or tried to offer alternatives and other ideas. Files are still files. Folder. If you use that folder and stick stuff in a folder in your course, no equivalent. Each item in your folder will become a separate page. So I would say that it might not be a bad idea to curl up with this document first before you go a whole lot further in the process. Groups and groupings are possible. H5P in Moodle. There isn't an equivalent in Canvas. However, we can help you if you use H5P content. If you're going, huh, what's that? You don't even have to worry about it. But if you're going, yeah, I know, I have that, we can. There is information on how to get that. It's just not going to migrate straight across. You can use H5P in Canvas. It's just going to be a little bit different, okay? The HTML editor in Moodle is called the Rich Content Editor in Canvas. If any of you have accidentally stumbled into and started using the I assignment in Moodle, stop doing it. Because there's no equivalent, okay? So we didn't ever recommend people use it, and one of the updates, it kind of showed up. And I think people kind of started using it because they weren't watching, you know, there's really no real reason to use it. So make sure you stay with using assignment. Okay, the journal, if you use a journal, there is not an equivalent here in Canvas. Kaltura is Kaltura. We're going to fill the blanks in here soon on that and get information out to you. The label in Moodle is a text header in Canvas. And I'm going to recommend to most of you that you don't take your labels across, because I don't think they're all that necessary for the most part, okay? Now, and if you've got like your instructions on how to get started in a unit, those bulleted points, like here are all the things you need to do, I think I'd put those in a Canvas page instead, okay? Because there's no way to format a text header in Canvas to be as pretty. The HTML editor doesn't work. It's going to be more like a plain text where it's just a black heading and lines of text. So it's not as robust. It's just here. Only simple plain text labels transfer as a text header. If it has an image, bulleted number list, it transfers as a page, which makes you clean it up or delete it. Now, if that's true, if that's what you want, is that to turn into a page, then you would choose when you make your Moodle backup to keep those labels. All right? There's no equivalent to the lesson, no equivalent to Lightbox. Messages, yes. Home pages, yes. Notifications, yes.
If we port the labels over, can we remove them in Canvas?
Question is, if you do bring your labels over, can you remove them in Canvas? Yes. You could actually take a full backup of Moodle, throw it in Canvas, and spend time cleaning up there. However, it's kind of hearkening back to what Narisha said. If you move from one house to another, do you want to box up everything and move it? Or do you want to clean things out and take things as clean to your new house as possible? Most people want to clean up a little first. So this is, and like I say, these are decision points, and that's why this document is so important. There is no equivalent to the questionnaire. And it talks about different things about the quizzes. Yes, you will need to, and I think all of you should be thinking about whether you're going to want to use quizzes in Canvas or quizzes next. And here's an explanation. And also in the orientation course, there's a whole section in the modules called quizzes. Go to quizzes. There's a side-by-side comparison chart of which one I should use, and it will help you make some decisions. I'm going to briefly summarize quizzes. If you tend to use multiple choice, true, false, essay, you know, those types of questions, or if you have a test question that has an image in it, those will all work just fine in quizzes. Canvas is in the process of moving to a new quizzing tool called Quizzes Next. Right now they exist together, kind of like in Moodle with the forum or the advanced forum, that kind of concept. But right now, the quizzes tool, the quizzes is probably robust enough for most people. One thing I will mention to you about quizzes is if you in Moodle let them scale, like I have a 10-point quiz, a 40-point quiz, you know, or like I have 15 questions on my quiz, but I want to make it a 100-point quiz, right? And you let it scale, Quizzes Next will not scale it. I mean, no, whoa, stop. Quizzes will not scale it. Quizzes Next allows scaling. Now, we're having a little bit of problem right now with the question test banks transferring from quizzes to Quizzes Next. So, and I know I'm probably, everybody's looking like, what are you talking about? Okay, but right now there are some things we're trying to work out details between quizzes and Quizzes Next, and we'll send out information about that also. I'm probably going to suggest to you that if it's just the scaling issue that you're having with quizzes, figure out a different way to write your tests, so that, or do your CID or your grade book so that a 15-point quiz is a 15-point quiz and that's fine. You know, or a 50-point quiz is a 50-point quiz and that's fine. That will probably be a little bit easier for you than to migrate all your quizzes over to Quizzes Next, you know, because there is a migration path built into Canvas, but it's time consuming. It might be a faster decision for you to make, like, all your quizzes, group them in the gradebook so all the point values are together or whatever. Because one thing about the Canvas gradebook that you can't do that you did in Moodle, some of you might, very few people did it. But if you had a category in Moodle and you had a 10-point item, a 50-point item, and a 75-point item in that category, you could set it at mean of grades and it would give it a pure average and they'd all have equal weight even though their point values were different. You cannot do that in Canvas. In Canvas, you can set the weights of your categories just like you do in Moodle. But the individual items in the category are going to be points based. Okay? For 95% of the people, that will be just fine. But I think if you want to, it's more advantageous to let the gears grind a little bit about how can I tweak that grade book to make it handle instead of figuring out how to do all that scaling with all your tests over just to scale a few items. Okay? Quizzes Next offers more robust quiz question types, like some drag and drops and some of the more complex question types. And if you're using those, then that would be a really good reason for you to think seriously about using Quizzes Next. However, again, go into the orientation, go to the modules and click quizzes, And you'll have the side-by-side comparison chart, and you'll have a more robust, deeper read on all the different things about the quizzes versus quizzes next so that you can make the choice. You do not have to make that choice before you move your content into Canvas, okay? All quizzes from Moodle come into the plain quizzes in Canvas. They come in as unpublished and ungraded, okay? So you need to know that. You'll have to tweak the settings and turn them on to be graded quizzes, and then you'll have to show them because in Canvas, remember, there's published and unpublished. Does anybody remember what that means? What's the Moodle equivalent? Show and hide. But in Canvas, it's a little deeper. Every item is by default, everything by default in Canvas is hidden, is unpublished. Where in Moodle, everything's published until you shut it off or show. So it's the opposite logic. So you have to remember, and that's one thing that was catching me at first too, is I kept forgetting to publish items, publish modules, and publish courses. They're all by default hidden. Okay. Question?
I have a question not related to this.
That's fine.
Right, but it's back about the master courses.
Yes.
We need to have the ones we're teaching done by May 24th, right?
Correct.
But we can still request all the master courses and not work on it.
Yes. Yes. He asked about the deadline. May 24th is when you have to have your fall courses in Canvas and for the most part ready for delivery in August. Okay? The associate deans and their designees will be the ones that will be checking, evaluating, that sort of thing. Okay? The instructional design team is not doing course evaluations. That's going to go through the instructional division side. So, if you want to know what will be satisfactory progress by May 24th, you need to go to your supervisor and work with them. Don't ask us because we're not there. That's not us anymore, which is awesome. You know, that's instructional, it's not ours anyway. So, and his question was, should we request all our masters and get everything over? Yes. You know, because June 30th, you won't have that luxury anymore, right? So you want to get them over, and you might only work on one course or two, and you might have 15. That's fine, okay? Just don't sell yourself short. Ask for them now. If they said empty for 6 weeks before you touch them, we've had people that asked for courses in November when we did training, and I know they haven't put anything in them yet. That's okay, all right? Just don't put yourself in a bind because the IT department sometimes can't do quite as quick a turnaround as we do. It's just a little different process over there, and everybody's channeling into one spot, where with us, it was channeling into several people that might pick it up, and we're all, you know, so just plan ahead for yourselves. If you use SCORM packages, they don't transfer from Moodle, but we can get them in Canvas. There is the equivalent in Canvas, so it's just not a straight across transfer. Okay? StudyMate, same thing. They don't import, but there is a process to put them in Canvas. Okay? And here's your documentation about how to. There's no equivalent of a survey. Turn it in. Start our own Canvas. So for all of you folks that use Turnitin, when you make your Moodle backup, you're going to uncheck all the Turnitin items because you don't want them to come across. They aren't going to be helpful. They have to be rebuilt anyway. So don't bring the garbage and give yourself something you have to delete. Okay? URLs will be fine. A wiki, there is no equivalent of a wiki page. Okay? Workshops, no equivalent. Okay. Does this give you kind of an overview of what will and won't go? Read in more detail at your leisure, okay? So now, I told you we're going to transfer content, and so now we're going to go there. How many of you in Moodle already know that you can make a backup and choose what to put in the backup besides user data? Like you can choose the content, line item. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to make a backup of whatever course you're in. You're each going to make your own backups. And you're going to cherry pick based a little bit on what you just saw in that conversion chart. What do I want to take over? What don't I want to take over? So that's our next step, okay? Go into your Moodle course. First of all, should I pause for any questions? Do you have any questions of any sort before we go forward? Okay.
Is it okay to back up a course that I am currently teaching for today?
Yes. You can back up your current course, you can use a term course, you can use a master course, whatever content works for you is the course you should grab. If your master isn't current anymore, then don't use it. If you've got that term course and it's very current, that's the one I would pick, okay? All right, I have my fake course. I'm going to choose backup in the settings. Everybody with me?
Yep.
Backup. I'm not going to take enrolled users. They're irrelevant, right?
Yep.
I really don't need the calendar events because quarter to semester is going to make a big enough change that you probably don't want any calendar dates. If you really want them, leave them, but I tend to uncheck them and get rid of the calendar dates. And I do want to leave my question bank alone unless you're going to like a new textbook or something like that and you don't want that old question bank. If you don't want any of your old questions to come across from Moodle, then you would not take your quizzes or your question banks. All right? However, let's say you're going to start your course from scratch in Canvas, but you really want the question banks you've got in Moodle. Then what you do is you go down through here and you would only choose question bank. See? So then you could just go get your question bank and that's it. Okay? All right, so then we don't jump to final step. Yes?
Once it's over in Canvas, can you edit your question bank?
Yes. Once you have your question bank into Canvas or your tests or your quizzes or anything, everything is editable over in Canvas. But again, better to sometimes clean house over on the Moodle side first. So, all right. So I've chosen my things here. I'm choosing next, not jump to final step. Let me get this out of the way again. And now is where I can cherry pick. If I'm only taking a few things, I might choose to select none up here at the top, right? Because that just unchecks everything. But you do realize you have to check the heading or the section title in order to check an item. See here, I can't click these items in here because I haven't chosen the section heading. Once I choose the section heading, that makes those boxes live to choose. Okay. So now what I want you to do is use that function. Announcements won't work over there, so don't take it across. Let me talk real briefly about some of the things I've got at the top of mind. I've got the welcome, contact information, instructor availability. All right, most of that stuff will not be in your module in Canvas. You'll be putting that on the syllabus, which isn't a syllabus. It's kind of, I'll call it syllabus page, and you'll link all that stuff there. All your business and housekeeping details for your Canvas course should be on the syllabus in Canvas, not your own syllabus, the syllabus page.
Like CID, calendar.
CID, calendar, timeline, your welcome message, office hours, contact, all that will be on your syllabus page. Yes?
Is that kind of then like a book where you're going to access a bunch of pages from one link?
No. Shall I just show you? Is everybody kind of like, huh? What are you talking about?
Visual, please.
Yeah, let's do a visual on that. Let's go over to the dashboard and let's go into, this course isn't quite done yet, but I'll go to the syllabus page on it. He hasn't done it yet, but this is your blank syllabus. I put a few things in here, but this is where your syllabus link will be. They'll open a PDF or a Word document. These will all be linked items. They'll just pop up for the student.
Okay.
Okay?
Are you going to put them in for us, or do you want us to put those in?
You put those in. Well, I'll show you how to do it. That will become more toward the second half of the world, but yeah, it's not difficult. It's actually pretty slick.
So we don't want to back those items up, is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Why back that all up? Yeah, she said, should we back up those items? No, in my Moodle course, I'm not taking any of that welcome stuff. I'm not taking my syllabus because my syllabus is going to be different. It's semesters. You know, all that stuff, no. That stuff shouldn't be taken across because you really don't need it at all. Okay, let's go back over to Moodle. Oops. Cherry pick through what you don't want. If you don't, we know a form won't transfer, so why choose it, right? Every label has this little title on it, and you can see here, I don't need this word called materials. Why? That's a heading in Moodle, right? I don't want that in Canvas. I don't need it. Because my module will have that title, and I don't need to have that breakdown now because my introductory materials are basically going to be sitting on the syllabus page, and only my intro activities are going to be sitting in the content page, or the modules. Yes?
I've got a lot of files. Do those come across?
Yes. Question was, she has a lot of files. Will those come across? Yes. So you can go ahead and choose those if you're using them. But this might be a good time to do say, oh, no, I haven't used that for a while, don't want it, so leave it out. You can always go back into Moodle and snag it if you need it. Yes, Marcy?
How about Zoom link? I can't find it on this.
Zoom link? No, don't take any Zoom from Moodle over to Canvas. Canvas will have Zoom. You'll hook it up separately. It's kind of like, those are like third-party products that for the most part are going to get rehooked separately, for the most part.
If I put a turn it in, I assign the master, will that also go to my master course?
I believe it will. Question was, if you put a Turnitin item in your Canvas master, will it work in your Canvas term course once you import it into your term course? I'm cautiously saying yes, but not great certainty because we haven't done it. They say it will. It's supposed to work okay now in Moodle too, and it did for a while and then it quit. So I can't guarantee it, but our hope is that you could build that item in your master and it will work. Yes, ma'am.
But what will be difference between if we enable plagiarism review in normal assignment internet or if we use Turnitin? What's the difference?
Okay, you're asking a specific Turnitin question?
Yes.
And, yes, and we'll go over that a little bit later, but she wants to know a little bit more about Turnitin, so let's try to save some time toward the end of one of these sessions to discuss that for those of you that use it, because there are some differences in Canvas, you know, a little bit more different choices, but same ability to do everything you have in Moodle. All right, any other questions? Yes.
External tools like smart tutoring.
External tools like smart tutoring and all those will have to be rehooked up in Canvas on their own, so I wouldn't take those across. Anything that has that, where in Moodle you use the external tool like smart thinking. There's another one, can't think of what it was.
I use it for Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom, no. Any third-party tool like that, don't take those across because you really don't need those. They'll have to be reconnected separately in Canvas anyway. They all will work over there, but not, just, yeah.
And how about things like you have a link to a web address outside of Moodle?
All right, outside URLs, yes, those would be okay. But one caveat, and this is my personal taste, I think that the way the URL displays in Canvas from the modules page is a little clunky. And I would prefer for my own, if I were building my own course, I'd create a page in Canvas. I'd maybe put a couple lines in there to explain what the URL is about or what they should, why they should be using it, what was significant to pay attention to or whatever. And then I'd put the URL on a page. It displays a little handier in my mind, and a little later on, ask me to show that to you. But if nothing else, you could get those URLs over into Canvas and then know that, okay, I don't like how they look, I'll copy it. Now I can slap it in the page. I think it's going to be easier to still work it there than to go out here and go get it and come back, because you can tweak it in Canvas. Yes.
What about section headings? Could I customize my block
Right.
heading?
Section headings. Back to that, I touched on it lightly. In my, well, here, let me
I mean,
just.
do I want to bring them over or not?
That's going to be your call, and I'll explain to you in a second here. Like here's my section heading, right? Picture, bulleted points. We kind of encourage that a lot in Moodle through the years. That will come across as a page because it has image, bullets, and so on. So that might be okay. However, if it just says introductory materials, then you wouldn't take a section heading because it's easier to just type that than to clean it out in Canvas and recreate it. So it's kind of going to be a decision point. After you do one course, you'll probably have a better feel for what you want to take there and what you won't. But that's, if it's got images and bulleted points and formatted text, it will turn it into a page in Canvas.
Okay, when I click on that,
And
everything else improves.
All right, if you, oh, you're right. Janine says if I uncheck mark that item, everything in that section goes gray, and it will, because you might not get the luxury. If you want other things in that section, you're going to have to hang this here.
Uncheck, recheck.
You can't. See, in other words, if I don't want this here, but I want other stuff, you're going to have to take it anyway and just clean it out of Canvas. Because of the rule where you have to check the heading in order to get the content in that section. So you might be kind of stuck with taking that across. Now, if you're in a master and you don't want to use that master again, you might want to go into the Moodle master and kill out your section headings and all that stuff so they don't transfer over at all. Then you just have the word and it wouldn't hurt. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, but if it's a master you're going to use again for next quarter or whatever, then you probably don't want to do that. You're going to have to do a little cleanup in one place or the other. And I'm not 100% sure, but the picture in your section heading might come over as a separate page, separate from the content. It might not put it all on the same page. I can't quite remember. But that's a cleanup that you just got to pay attention to. And one of the most important things is once you get it over, you're just going to have to take the time in the modules and start from the top and work down to the bottom and read everything. I was helping an instructor, and I thought I had a lot of the stuff pretty well cleaned up, and then I randomly popped up in a discussion that mentioned something in Moodle, and I'm like, oh, holy smokes. You know, I mean, it's just going to be there. So you really do have to think. You can't just look at your discussions and say, okay, I know what that one's about. I want to keep that one. I want to keep this one. Randomly, there's going to be something sneaking in somewhere. And believe it or not, within the last 6 months, I had a course open that was talking about in Angel, do this, that, and the other. Yeah. So we kind of want to get rid of that, you know. And it's sometimes tricky not to get some of those creeping in, but please try to clean up. Yeah.
What is the most important thing to remember in converting from Moodle to Canvas?
The most important thing to remember when converting from Moodle to Canvas is to, number one, read that orientation course so you have a feel for what Canvas is. Number two, go to the modules in that orientation course down to the transferring content and read that conversion chart carefully and think about it. And then number three, clean up where you think is relevant. Take some notes about what you want to bring across, what you don't want to bring across, and then work through the process and edit, edit, edit. And seek help, you know, like if you have questions about things, let us know. I mean, there's some things that are kind of SCC-esque, like third parties that, you know, once in a while you ask us. But if it's, use your 24/7 help. It's kind of in a nutshell. Yes, you had a question?
Yeah, on the previous page, on the backup, you want to include groups.
He said include groups and groupings. Either way, they're not going to come across, so you don't have to worry about it. Because if you've used groups in Moodle, they're not going to group themselves in Canvas, but that function happens in Canvas. It just won't come across. Any other questions? Does everybody cherry pick through what they want?
I'm trying.
Yes, question.
Inquisitive, is that inquisitive?
Yeah, I don't know what inquisitive is.
External link.
External link, no. Don't bring it across. Yeah, what is that yet? Remind me.
Inquisitive is an add-on from, is it Norton?
Okay. Okay.
And students, if you get it free with a new book or you buy it or whatever,
Got it.
then it's online grammar.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That's a third-party product that would be added in. And just since we're talking about third-party products, Harrison McGraw-Hill, all those are third-party products, and then you'll just relink them over in your Canvas course.
So don't take that link with you.
I don't know. It won't. You could try it. I don't know. Honestly, with your third-party products, you have book reps. Your book reps are your experts, not us, okay? Because we don't know the publisher content, and we don't even have access unless one of us happens to be teaching something. I mean, once I taught something with McGraw-Hill Connect, then I could answer about any kind of question because I was using it actively. But right now, what we're recommending to you all is if you use the publisher content, contact your publisher rep to help you get it to work in Canvas, okay? And if you need like us to I don't know what, then it would probably be more IT help desk oriented rather than instructional design. Okay?
I do have a quick question.
Yes,
So, if we're doing, so I have you create a video for me for
Right.
filling in PDF forms.
yes.
That shouldn't go over because it's Moodle related, right?
No. Well, it's a video
So,
specifically
video
talking
demonstrating
about.
completing worksheets, fillable forms.
All right, she asked about bringing video across. If it's Moodle specific video, then no. But if it's generic, like filling out a PDF form and it has nothing to do with the learning management system, then I would go ahead and keep those check marked and move them across. You can always delete them once you get there. Okay? Everybody ready to just follow the steps through the backup? Okay, go ahead and make your backup. Make your backup and download your backup to your desktop. Okay? Or to your computer, wherever it goes. Probably my documents downloads. It will be an MBZ file, and when you choose download, you might want to look at the date in front of the download, because if you have more than one download, you might grab an old one by accident. Okay? See, I wouldn't want this introductory activities, edit your user profile, message activity, no.
Yeah.
The person that cares about. So I can do.
All right.
Yeah. Good question.
Everybody close with having a backup on their computer ready to work in
It's getting there.
Canvas?
It's getting
Close?
close, but it's not done.
All right. All right. Again, to pick your backup, look for the date and time to make sure you're grabbing your most current one, and then choose download.
And that's all we're doing is downloading.
All you're doing is downloading it.
And
You're
where did you
going
say
into
where to
Moodle.
download to desktop?
What?
Did you say just to download it to the desktop?
Well, wherever, download it on your computer, wherever it is, so you can pick it up and put it in Canvas. Okay, to just quickly summarize, go ahead.
This is a dumb question. I don't know how to control where it goes when it's down.
If you're on a laptop that's an SEC laptop, it usually drops into your documents downloads folder.
Okay.
Does that sound right? Y'all are Windows users, I'm a Mac user, so I'm thinking that's where it usually goes. Downloads, okay. So to just briefly summarize before we leave Moodle and go into Canvas,
Oh,
you know, you go into your Moodle course, you look at that conversion chart. If it's a master you're not going to be using again, and you can clean out, do some clean out on the main screen if you can, you know, things that you want. Then make your backup where you select your content, and then make that backup and download it. Okay, that's all you have to do to get it ready for Canvas. Oh. All right, everybody ready? Ready to go to Canvas?
I think so.
Yes.
If not,
All
we'll
right,
holler.
for those of you that are ready, go to the Canvas master course, if you have it, that matches the one you downloaded.
and if I don't, just use my Sandbox.
If you don't have that master, use your Sandbox, but be aware that you won't have that template. And again, since we've got people watching online too, I can't say this enough. Don't use your Sandbox for course development. It does not have the template you need. It won't have the course banner. It won't have the course homepage. It won't have that customized syllabus page, right? It's a plain Jane Canvas. Why can't I, somebody said, why don't I have what?
Well, yeah, when I go to my Sandbox, it just says, oh, never mind, now it's fine.
Okay.
So we open up the course we want to import into, is what you're saying?
Yes. All right, go to Canvas now, right?
Yes, I
We're done with Moodle. And go into your Canvas course. Let me go here. And I call mine Moodle Canvas. But see, here's the beauty of the template. If you go to your Sandbox, you're not going to come to this page here, right? Your home page. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you this now. We'll do it again later. Once you import, you're going to unhook this home page as displaying as a home page. It will automatically kick loose. It will not kill it. But see here where you see choose home page? If you ever work in Canvas and you get into one of your Canvas courses and say, where is my banner? It's going to the modules instead, or it's not going to this page first. At the home page, choose home page, and then you look for the one that says pages front page, home page, and you rehook it, okay? This import that you're doing will kick that loose.
I just had the Sandbox in orientation. Can I use the orientation course?
No, you have Sandbox and orientation. You can't use the orientation course. Number one, you're a student in there. So you can't be, a student can't import into that. You only can use your Sandbox.
Go back to Sandbox and show me how to import it.
Well, okay, but you shouldn't really use your Sandbox if you have a master. Who asked that?
I don't have a master.
Oh, you don't have a master yet. Okay, then, so then once you go to your main screen here on your dashboard, and you should have two things, right? You should have Canvas, this, and then you should have one that says Orientate Sandbox, right? Just open your Sandbox. Okay, just click on it to open it.
We haven't imported.
We aren't there yet. We're just trying to open the course. Okay? Everybody all right with that? So right now we're in our, you're all in your master courses if you have one, right?
Yes.
All right, step 2, go to settings in the course navigation menu. Okay, settings. All right, holler at me if I lose any of you, all right? There are a lot of people in here, so I don't want to let somebody get totally lost. You go to settings. Everybody there?
Yes.
Import course content. Kind of this isn't a whole lot different than when you do it in Moodle. You just need to go. Where do you go in Moodle? Settings, import. Settings, import. A lot of it has parallelism that's pretty easy to figure out. With your content type, you will choose Moodle 1.9 to 2. All right. Now, Beth asked a question earlier. What if I already have a backup? It's not on the Moodle server, but I have that MBZ file stored somewhere. This is where you would start.
Okay.
You would go to the master course that gets that MBZ file. You would go to settings, and you would choose course import, and then you would choose Moodle 1.92, and then you would browse for that file. Okay? So that's where you do that if you already have a backup that you need to bring in. So we're going to choose that. Then we're going to browse for the file. Most likely for most of you, it went into your downloads folder. All right. Ah, where did mine go? Ah. Hang on a second. I thought I downloaded it, didn't I? Oh, Sue goofed up. Sue didn't get her download to work. All right, download it. Add your file, and then choose. All right, here's something I want to talk about, and then I'll catch up with you because you're now ahead of me. You have a choice of all content or select specific content. So like if you've taken that Moodle MBZ file that you haven't had a chance to clean up, you didn't have a chance to cherry pick. This is where for you people that have that backup that you haven't cleaned up, you would choose select specific content. Then you would use that conversion chart that you've got down the orientation course to help you make your choices. You all have already selected your specific content, right? So you're just going to choose all content. Yes?
Since you said we couldn't get rid of the section title, it was all kind of good. Could we actually get rid of it here?
You might be able to. He asked a really good question. What if we choose select specific content? Can we get rid of those section headings here? You might be able to. That may be an awesome ace thing to do. Toggle all those choices open and start reading. Okay? I'm not going to catch up with you. But now look through there and make your choices. You're not going to migrate any dates. And I will show that in a separate thing here later. And I'm already running behind, but you all don't mind, right?
Can
Okay.
you import 2 different Moodle backups and therefore merge them into one Canvas?
Can you take 2 little backups and merge them into Canvas? Yes. Each import, here's an important point, and it's similar to Moodle. You can bring in 2 backups. It will bring them in separately, and it will not overwrite. It will merge them. So you got to be careful not to duplicate material. But yes, you could bring in, like, for some reason, 2 separate backups if you wanted to. Yeah. All right. Do you want to take a real quick break? Or keep
Let's do the import first.
Yeah, let's do the import first, yes. But if you're done importing,
We chose a file and then we did the import.
That's
Yeah.
completed.
if you want to see where it landed, then you would, once you import, go to modules and you'll see content.
Okay.
All right, and then if you're done with that, please go ahead and take a little break here, like a quick one, and then we'll go back into the second part.